Hello and a big warm welcome to you, and welcome to this Facebook Live on Psychospiritual Entrepreneurship. I wrote this talk today and I'm really excited to share it with you. I'll start talking, wait to see who else is joining in. So, welcome. I wonder if you're familiar with the term psychospiritual. It's really a term that understands and integrates the whole of human beings. That includes every single part of us, including right from the most basic sensory, amazing capacities we have, through our body, our feelings, our mind, our what you might call our soul, our self, our spirit, that is all of those things as well. Hi Lucy, welcome again. So from that perspective, it's a really wonderful perspective. I love it because it really helps us understand the interrelationship between all these parts and how they're all impacting each other. They're all having an influence, and we are all of these. And the more we understand about how all these dimensions of us interrelate, the more capacity we have to cooperate with this process of our unfolding journey of us becoming more and more who we really are. So I'd love to start off with the basic tenet. And I've got my notes here, because for my Sunday Facebook Lives, I have notes. For the rest of them in the week, as you probably know, they're much more off the cuff. So my notes here. So the basic tenet is that each of us is and has a divine spark, so that you have something and you are something that is completely unique. There's no one else on the planet that has the same ineffableness that you have. There's no other you. There's no one else exactly like you. So there may be people who've done similar trainings as you. You may have siblings. You may be a twin. You may have a particular paradigm or model that you really resonate with. But there's no one else who has the particular combination of you-ness combined with life experiences, combined with both painful and enjoyable experiences in your life, that mean you have something unique. You have something unique that nobody else has. Absolutely no one. And basically that unique spark interacts with our life experiences. You know, when we come into the world as this unique being, we have painful experiences, we have joyful experiences, we have every experience in between. And that really influences the kinds of gifts that we want to share in the world and the callings that we have, this calling we have. And basically it's the divine spark within us, or you might call it the self with the capital S, that is constantly calling us forward to be more who we really are, to make manifest more of the uniqueness that we have in the world, to really share our unique gifts in whatever ways we feel called to do. And really that desire to express ourselves, or to help people in a particular way, or to create something, or to share certain information, or to make a difference, these are part of what calls us forward. So it's this consistent calling. And I imagine you, if you're here and you're watching this, you've probably experienced that calling, that calling that at times can get very urgent and other times can be quieter. That still small voice within that keeps drawing you. And I think it can be also really helpful to know that there also can be a variety of needs and values that really can impel us and call us as an entrepreneur, whatever you want to call yourself, on this journey of your calling. So I really love Maslow's hierarchy of needs. I find that really helpful to bear in mind, because the more we understand where the different needs and wants and values are coming from, the more we can respond to ourselves, which means the more we're going to be able to do what we're here to do. So there can be the needs for self-actualization. So that's, you know, the need to actually be here and be most authentically ourselves. There can be the desire to make a difference, a desire to contribute to others, that wonderfulness that we all have. You know, that time. And you know what, I love nonviolent communication for this. What I really learned from that, and I'm so grateful. And I remember the aha I had when I really got this, that the desire to contribute to others and the feelings that we get when we get to do that can be some of the most joyful feelings that we have, to make a difference, to contribute, such a core human need and value that we all have. But there also can be other needs that are also really important. So it's really important. It can be easy to judge particular ones of these needs. And I really want to give from a psychospiritual perspective, all needs from wherever they're coming from are all really important and valuable. And the more we can understand them and listen to them compassionately and respond compassionately, again, the more likely we are going to be able to move forward. So some of those needs can be needs to be seen and heard. Some of them can be to be valued and acknowledged. Some of them are for self-expression, really core human needs. And of course, needs for survival, to actually make a living. You know, if you don't have someone else that's there supporting you, or a system that's supporting you, that can be a big calling to make enough to survive. And again, really understanding all the different needs that show up at different times and understanding where they're coming from can mean we can respond more in the most apt ways. Because, for example, you might be writing something or speaking something or sharing something or giving something, and it feels so much a sense of this is you contributing in the world, and there's so much joy, and there's really no need for anyone to respond, because in the expression is the joy. That's the value and the need there. There might be other times, like, you know, if you're doing online entrepreneurship and you maybe share something on social media and you don't get any likes, or you have a course and you only get a few sign-ups or whatever it is, and you may find at times like that the need for acknowledgement or to be seen or to be heard come up. And sometimes those can also be not only in the present moment needs, but also past hurts that come up, times we weren't heard and seen, and feelings from there can come up in the present moment. So really having this overarching view and understanding where all these different responses are coming from and these callings can really, really help us, so that the journey is much more enjoyable and fulfilling. So it can really help us understand the terrain we're traveling. And so, yeah, as I was saying, when you're sharing what's most truly alive for you, you might feel this deep sense of aliveness and this kind of brightness and this sense of flow. And there might be you when you're making a difference, and you really see you're making a difference to someone, or someone sends you testimonials unasked for that you've really, that session you did, or that thing you did, or that product, or whatever it is, has made a real difference to their lives. And you might, again, feel this wonder and joy and delight, like, wow, I really got to contribute. I got to make a difference to someone's life. How amazing is that? How amazing. Hi, Nikki, welcome. And there might be parts, and there are probably, because I think there are for all of us, parts that want to be seen and to be heard and to be valued and to be acknowledged. And these parts can often come up when we're out there sharing our own unique voice in the world. And again, so important to acknowledge, that's coming right now, I'm expressing that, and that's really coming from there. And right now, but this is coming from here, you know, to really get familiar with our emotional cartography, so that we know where we're expressing something from and what needs we have, and, you know, how we can best help ourselves. Hi, Nikki. Always. Lots of love. So, and really, because, you know, not only do we have our own unique self with a capital S that is calling us, and that is, you know, we have something unique. Each of us have this unique gift to share, but we also have, on the entrepreneurial journey, what's the most amazing thing I found is it's such a crucible for growth and development, for really transformation happening. It really is just an amazing crucible. I love that word. Hi, Angela. Welcome. Yay. And Nikki, feeling those feelings, so hear you, and gratitude, yeah. Such a wonderful thing, isn't it, to get to contribute, to get to make a difference, to get to see that you're doing what you're doing and doing what you love is not only loving it, but gosh, wow, that's actually made a difference to that person's life and that person's life. Nothing more wonderful than that. So on this journey of transformation, what often will happen is experiences from our past will show up. And some of this might come up and they might help inspire us to keep moving. So it may be that we go, oh gosh, I remember how painful that was. I want to make sure other people don't experience that. So it's going to inspire you to do more. Oh, I'm loving all the likes. Thank you, thank you. But others might be, for example, painful experiences we had when we shared our voice. So we might be out here sharing our voice in the here and now, and what happens is painful memories, painful feelings come up that are actually from the past. We might also hear thoughts that we heard at times in the past when we were growing up, and those were also times perhaps when we were our own unique selves, or we were shining or sharing our gifts or wanting to be seen and heard. So those can come up as well. And this really is a chance, an opportunity to respond differently to ourselves this time. That's the wonderful thing about it, that we get to do things differently as we traverse this journey. Hi, Angela. Sitting in that fire, another blessing. Oh, I so hear. So hear. And it is like a fire, isn't it? Fire of transformation. It's like the phoenix rising again and again and again. So really, this is the psychospiritual model. It's really understanding how ourself, our soul, and our personality all are interacting with each other on the entrepreneurial journey. And we live in this amazing time, don't we? This time of evolution, where this is becoming more and more paramount. So, because everything's changed, hasn't it, in the last few years around entrepreneurship and self-expression, with YouTube, yes, Nikki, YouTube and website platforms and online payment systems like PayPal, and high quality video available on pretty much any smartphone. And of course, social media, it's really opened doors in ways that were completely unheard of before. And also the whole entrepreneurial space has changed, whereas before it was, it was very much this kind of piece, this kind of self that we presented to the world, whereas more and more we're coming into an age of authenticity. If you talk to any teenager who's maybe into YouTube, there are millions of young people around the world just have their own YouTube channel and they're just sharing their lives. There's vlogs left, right and center. There's people just being themselves and expressing themselves in the world. There's this new evolutionary edge we're on as human beings. And to me, that's what the entrepreneurial journey, it's this new opportunity, unlimited opportunities, absolutely, and I love it. Thank you for all that. I'm loving all the la, la, la. See, so for me, when I see all these, the parts that want appreciation and acknowledgement, they're all getting met right now. Yes, such an awesome shift to see. It's absolutely, a revolutionary time in the history of humanity, and it's happening really quickly, isn't it? This what's it called? This change is just happening double the speed, double the speed, double the speed. You probably know the word for it. I cannot remember it. Lucy, yes, such an awesome shift to see, yes. And Nikki, and people are watching. We're tired of the TV model. People want real life. Exactly. People want authenticity. They want interaction. They want connection. That's we don't want to sit in front of something and be told what we watch when when it's on. We want to be participating in life, and it is an amazing opportunity. I love hearing these comments from you. It's so wonderful, isn't it, to really get this, like, this is amazing. Look what I get to do. I get to sit in my kitchen and talk to you and you're coming and listening and sharing your gifts, and it's such a wonderful thing that we can do. And it's it's really changing the landscape of humanity. I think, that anyone, anywhere in the world, pretty much, even in, really poor countries, you know, the advent of really cheap smartphones and the internet for all over the world, that's fostering huge change, not only entrepreneurial change, but social change and just absolute change on every level. You know, we're really going to see just the old kind of paradigms really dropping away. And, you know, this is the wonderful thing. We get to engage in this. You know, if this is something that calls you, which clearly it does, otherwise you wouldn't be here. Such an exciting time. Yes, Nikki, yes, the platform has helped tribes form where people wouldn't normally have had that opportunity. Absolutely, from all over the world. And I imagine you have that, and I do too. It's like we get to meet like-minded people, whereas before, if we'd been a little bit different, we would have been in our village and we would have been the different one. There's the kind of, you know, maybe we would have become the mystic or whatever, but it may also be that we were just there our whole life in the village without actually meeting one other person who knew or understood what we, you know, how we were. And now we can get on Facebook and go and find someone, or we can look under hashtags on Instagram or whatever your social media is of choice and find other like-minded people, create tribes. And I'm sure, you know, in the social sphere as well, some of the changes that have happened around, you know, some of the political changes that are happening, also, you know, all the amazing stuff that happens on social media that really couldn't have happened before. Nikki, indeed, or just continuing the family traditions or whatever it was they do, either growing or just surviving re-village life. Yes, 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 yes. And it had, you know, there were a lot of strengths in that paradigm and, you know, lots of gifts in that. But, you know, it's a very different time now, very different time. So it really is a new age, a new opportunity, really an age of opportunity for unique self-expression and contribution in the world, for us to have this opportunity to show up and be ourselves and share our unique gifts and connect with other like-minded people, and to create this change that's happening, to inspire others to be authentic and to express themselves, and, you know, to create new tribes. Such a great thing. So let's look a little bit deeper. And here we are, blessed we are. Yes, I so agree. So agree, Nikki. So lovely to have you here. So let's dive a bit deeper. So from the psychospiritual perspective, as we follow the call from self, we come across all kinds of experiences. So these may be internal experiences. We might feel at times fear, as well as the joy and all those wonderful things we were talking about. We might feel fear or trepidation or terror or unease. And often this is because the steps we're taking remind us of painful events that were similar in some way. So perhaps we're speaking at a workshop and that reminds us of speaking as a child when our dad didn't listen and talked over us, or times at school where we spoke our authentic voice and a teacher punished us, or other children judged us and we felt deeply scared and ashamed. And really this is because this is the new paradigm, but we carry the vestiges of this old paradigm, these old ways of judgment and comparison and punishment, all of those things that we experienced growing up in the culture that has gone. And those feelings will often come up as an entrepreneur as if they were happening in the present moment. So we can have really big feelings. You know, you might go to do something, whatever it is, and you might feel terrified. And that's really because of these past experiences are coming up to be heard and healed. And that's where I'm loving, thank you. Loving all the love. And that's where having our outer loving crew and our inner loving crew can be so important. Because in those experiences in the past, we weren't met with empathy. Again, this is no judgment from the people in our past. They couldn't meet us with empathy because they hadn't received it themselves. But we didn't get met with empathy. How do we know that? Because we're still carrying them out. If those feelings had got the opportunity to be heard and to be expressed and to be healed, we wouldn't still be carrying them. So the key to releasing them is meeting them with empathy now. meeting them with empathy now. And the first is generally needs to be an outer loving crew member. So that's someone on the outside who can meet us with empathy and love and support, and really can be with us and how we're feeling. We can phone them up, or we can meet them, and we can Skype them or Zoom them or whatever, and we can say, oh, I'm really scared, I'm about to do my workshop, my talk, write this post, do this thing, set up my website, do this, whatever it is, and I'm really, really scared. And they can meet you there, rather than, oh, you don't need to be scared. They can say, sweetheart, well, I always say, sweetheart, I really hear that you're scared. I really hear. I'm right here. I'm listening. Where do you feel that in your body? I'm right here with you. I'm listening. Nikki, which is so huge to understand and learn to help us evolve. Yes, 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 yes. So agree. So, yeah, so it starts off with having outer loving crew members, like you say, Nikki, like these tribes of people, like we can share the things that are happening for us, and we can be met with this empathy and this understanding, rather than, oh, it's all right, don't need to feel that, or la, 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 all the old ways of meeting feelings. Is actually to be met with empathy. And then I have a whole process. So I have the inner loving presence process. So there can be particular memories that we have, and we can actually go back. So if you're terrified to go and do a workshop, but you so want to do a workshop because you want to share this message with a whole lot of people, and every time you go to do that you feel terrified, well, we can go back, and I'm sure you have your own process too. We can go back and we can listen. What does this remind me of? And we can go back to the 3-year-old little you that was dancing around the kitchen and just so full of life and joy, and was shamed by her brothers, or whatever it was that happened to you, and really to go back and hear those feelings this time, to hear them, to love them, to hear the feelings and the needs and the thoughts and what you wanted to say and what you wanted to hear. So another piece of that gets released, so that each time we go and we move forward and we go to express ourselves, there's less of these old parts of us that are needing to be heard, because each time we're bringing them home into ourselves, and we're becoming a bigger, more whole person, because these parts that we got left behind, we're bringing them in. I'm here. You're so welcome. I'm going to bring you into the fold of myself. Thank you for your comments, Nikki. I see you. I see you. I'm right here. I'm listening. Vulnerability is amazingly terrifying. Yes, yes, amazingly beautiful and terrifying. Yeah, terrifying. And of course, that's because at some point in our past, we did that, and we didn't get met with empathy and compassion. We got met with other things, which is why it's terrifying in the present, because of the past. So, what we're afraid of has already happened. I love that phrase. Really helpful to remember. Nikki, yes, love bringing them home and loving those little soul parts of us that need it. Absolutely. So isn't this already wonderful that, yes, we're moving forward and we may feel terrified. This has been so my journey. I was absolutely terrified to speak in any group, to do anything which involved speaking. And each time I get to bring along another little part. I hear you, I see you. And to hear those feelings. And the more we do that, the more we can go and do this thing in the present moment without feeling that terror. The terror might reduce to fear. But then we're also developing our inner loving crew. So as we have that outer loving crew, we can start internalizing that. So we can start internalizing, so for me, it's my inner loving mother. And I put my hand on my heart and she says, I'm right here, sweetheart. I really hear that you're scared. I'm here and I'm listening. Yeah, I love you. I know. I am right here with you. I really hear that you're scared. So not only do we have this outer loving crew, but we develop the inner loving crew, so that when these old feelings come up from the past, to be heard and to be healed, to be brought home, we can love them, we can listen to them, which means we can keep moving forwards and become more. We expand, our whole personality expands. And really, that's such an amazing thing, because we really develop this greater capacity. And this has so, again, been my experience, that we are, in terms of a psychospiritual model, our personality, which was kind of like this, because there were certain feelings we couldn't really, that didn't get heard. So we we've pushed them out that way, and other feelings out this way, and certain experiences this way. And as we develop our empathy, basically our self-empathy, we expand our capacity, and that also expands like, oh gosh, well, I can actually go and do a talk now, and I can write, and we're actually developing our personality, so that our personality is expanding to become more of a reflection of who we really are, rather than this kind of less accurate reflection. And I've shared this before, but I'd love to share it again. I'm sure you've had a friend who's perhaps doing something in this, and they're maybe saying these self-judgmental things to you, and you're probably looking at them and you're going, because you see in them, you see this beautiful, divine, intelligent, creative, amazing woman who can absolutely do what she wants to do, and you can see it, can't you? Because you can clearly see you don't have all the lenses and the identities and the internalized thoughts and the scared parts. You can see her as she is, and that's what happens, as we go on this journey, as we hear and we heal. Thank you for all the love. Then who we think we are expands to become much more an accurate reflection of who we really are. And that's what we're seeing when we see that in our friend. We're seeing much more who they really are, and they're seeing through these filters. So isn't that a wonderful thing, that expansion, that those capacities for including more and more of ourselves, so that we can become who we're here to be? Such a wonderful thing. Thank you for all the love. I'm so appreciating you, Nikki. Nikki, the shift is a wonderful experience. I wish for anyone willing to sit in that fire. Yes, and it is, because it is, and some of the most scary things, in fact, probably all the things, don't you find that when you're talking about the fire, the things that we're most scared of, they will, I can hardly even speak it, they will come up to meet us. Those fears, those past painful experiences will come up to be heard and healed, which is why it is a fire at times. It can be the most wonderful, amazing, incredible thing, but it will at time to time bring up the things that we're really not wanting to look at, the fears, the hurts, the places we weren't seen and heard. Those all get to come to be brought home to ourselves. And that's the paradox, because the more we can do that, the more we can become, the more we can contribute, the more we are ourselves. So those past experiences, still can't speak, those past experiences can show up. But what also can show up on the inside are thoughts that we experienced from others as we were growing up and we expressed ourselves. Nikki, the love also helps your video be seen by others in feeds. I know, thank you, lovely. I so appreciate you, and it's so lovely to do. I love that. So I hope it's meeting your need to contribute. It's certainly meeting my need for love and support and encouragement. So thank you, Nikki. So so the thoughts that come up, again, that we heard from others. So again, you might have danced around the kitchen as a 2-year-old, and you might have heard something like, well, who do you think you are? Or we might have shared a poem that we wrote with our peers at 10, and they might have said, oh, that's rubbish, or laughed. We might have done this artwork at school that we totally loved, and we put our heart and soul into it, and we thought it was the most magical thing ever, and we might have been given a D. So basically, with repeated experiences like this, we internalize these thoughts and we start to do them to ourselves. So I call them the emotional sticks. D, 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 D. We heard them, we internalize them, we identify them, we believe them to be true, and they become part of our identity. And again, these thoughts can come up very frequently, again, as we go to take each new step out into the world, as we share our gifts, as we do the thing that we want to be doing, the next thing and the next thing. And again, part of this psychospiritual journey is increasing our capacity to respond compassionately to ourselves when this happens. To recognize and start to recognize, that thought, that is a thought that I've internalized from others. That's actually, well, I actually have choice now about whether I believe that to be true. So we gradually, again, this is a gradual process, but we gradually, I call it putting down the emotional sticks. We're doing this, and we suddenly start, we're not even aware of it at first, and then we're aware of it, and we're like, oh, that really hurts. And then we start realizing, who's holding the stick in the first place? Who's doing this? We start seeing that we do have choice, and we can start to put them down. And we start to replace those with compassionate responses, compassionate statements, compassionate inner dialogue. Every day, all the time. Haha. Was that with the sticks, Nikki? So that we put the sticks down. Again, this is something I've experienced, and you've probably heard this from me. I was like this all the time. And now I just very, very rarely happens because I put the sticks down. I just wasn't willing to do that to myself anymore. Oh, Debbie, welcome, welcome. Yes, agox. I wonder what that means. There's lovely, I love often the messages that come through those as well. Ago-cause. So again, so the first internal thing are the feelings that show up, that are feelings from the past that come up to be heard and healed. The second thing that shows up are those internalized thoughts, which we can gradually, over time, start to disidentify from and replace with a compassionate inner dialogue. Sticks, yes, okay, I thought it was sticks. But it could be ago. I like the ago. I see the message in that as the sticks were from ago. They're from long ago, not from now. Thank you for the love. And then the third thing is the outer events that show up. So on the entrepreneurial journey, there might be repeated technical hitches, power glitches, health issues, or other things that are apparently preventing you from taking that next step. And from this perspective, from the psychospiritual perspective, it can be that these experiences are either protecting us in certain ways or helping us heal from old similar hurts. So it's a very different way of seeing it from, oh, you know, life's against me, or, you know, I'm not meant to do this, or, you know, why is this happening to me again? Which can be very easy to go into these places. But when we understand what's happening below the surface, we can actually see that it's generally not that at all. I would say it's always not that. I type fast autocorrect, yes. So hear you. I have that a lot. Interesting concept. Thank you, Nikki. Yes, so that, from the way I see it, is if we're not checking our willingness, so if you know my work, you'll know about the willingness practice, which is really, am I really willing to do this? And if we're not really willing, it's generally, again, because there are past hurts that happened, and we have conclusions about that. Oh, so if I really go and do this thing, I'm going to get hurt, or I will ignore my kids, or I'll be exhausted, or whatever, you know, these fears are. And if we haven't heard those and given them empathy and listened to them and found other ways of helping them see that it's going to be different this time, then what often happens is things in the outer world will show up. So, yes, versus blame mindset. Yes, so different. To actually see, it's what I love about this approach is it's really claiming our authority. Not, you know, not that we make things manifest, but that neither do we like the supreme authority, but neither are we these victims that have things happen to us, that we're part of the dialogue, continuously part of the dialogue with life. And our willingness is part of the way that we do dialogue with life, and life responds to our willingness. So if we're not listening to our willingness and we feel scared, but we're not listening and we just keep going, well, just keep going, what will often happen is these outer things. Understand it's outside of us, open to receiving. Yes, Nikki, yeah, absolutely, being open to receive support from life. It's a cooperation thing, isn't it? So it's usually one of those two things. So yeah, we're pushing through, we're not listening to our unwillingness, we're not listening to the fears that need to be heard and the reassurance that needs to be given. And often then there's this painful outcome that happens. And again, it's really understanding what we're afraid of has already happened. So what we might find, again, if you were, I don't know, sharing your voice in some way and you got teased as a child and you got really shamed and it was really painful, then when you go to do that in your entrepreneurial work, you may find, and you haven't healed from that, that's the key, you might find that technical issues keep showing up. You keep going to do a something, I don't know, video, and it keeps on not working, or you go to do your website and it keeps on going down, or whatever it is. And again, what's generally happening is either it's protecting us from getting hurt in the same way, because we haven't done the inner healing. We haven't found a way of helping ourselves move through that so that the protection will show up on the outer. It's not there to be against you, it's actually there to help you and protect you. Nikki, and growing from the challenges. Yeah, absolutely. But I suppose for me, I don't have this model that life is giving us challenges because they're kind of good for us. I see it as the challenges come as part of the healing, so that we actually can have more flow and more ease, actually. But that's just my personal perspective. So they can either come as outer protection. So, oh, well, yes, I really wanted to do this video or write this thing, but now I can't really do it. And there's a part that's actually relieved, like because it was so scary, because we didn't hear the fear. Or if we keep on trying to force through, and again, we don't do the inner work, we keep forcing, we don't see those opportunities for healing, we might find that then things happen that on the outer that appear to confirm what we were scared of. So, for example, if we're afraid that when we share our voice, we're going to get hurt, we may find that if we keep not listening and not doing the inner work, that we will share a voice and someone will say something, or we will get hurt in some way. And again, rather than seeing it's like, oh, see, I knew it was true, life, this isn't right for me, or whatever, it's like really seeing life basically wants us to, life, which is also our self with a capital S, because us and life are one at that deepest level, wants us to heal from these early hurts. It's basically going to help us. It's going to keep on reminding us of those so we can heal them and release the energy that's caught up there, so that we can be this expanded self, so we can actually share the message. We can give the gifts. We can make a difference. We can contribute. That's why they're showing up, not because life's against us, but because life is like really wants us to be able to heed the call. And the freer we are from all these hurts and all these internalized judgments, the freer we are to heed the call. Nikki, I pissed myself inside, haha. Nicole, welcome. So glad you're here. So what we can basically see that those technical hitches and the glitches, or the thing that we were most scared of happening, is actually life bringing us opportunities to heal from those original experiences, to hear the feelings and needs and things that we didn't get to say in ways that weren't heard the first time, so we can heal them, release them, bring those parts into the fold of ourselves, expand our identity, so that we really get to see life is here, life's on our side, life is not against us. It's wanting us to follow our calling. It wants us to thrive. It wants us to share our unique gifts, wants us to do that. That's why it's bringing those things. Not, even though it can look like it's against us, it's actually really there to help us, either to protect us or to help us heal from those original experiences. So again, from this psychospiritual perspective, having an outer loving crew, having our developing inner loving crew with that capacity for self-compassion, for self-encouragement, for self-awareness, like, oh gosh, I'm just about to do this, or, this is one of mine, like flicking my headphones. Oh, that's interesting. Okay, I'll go and listen to myself, or I'll call my inner loving crew, when these things show up, rather than it's some random thing. It's like seeing that life is constantly talking to us, and we're constantly talking to life in our willingness, particularly. So I've really found that in my own journey. So I'll share a little bit. What I remember is when I first started doing videos, for example, so that was like 3 years ago in particular, when I really started. And I was so, can't even say it, terrified, scared. So I got all this expensive equipment and tripods, and I spent ages setting it all up, and I'd spent ages clearing the house behind it, and then I put on all these special clothes, and I put on makeup, which I'm so rubbish at doing, and I'd end up with lipstick all over my teeth and everywhere. And I was basically trying to be someone other than myself, and basically all the old feelings around being seen were coming up to be heard and healed. That's why I was terrified. If I hadn't had those, basically it's really helpful to remember, if all of us had grown up in some kind of perfect world, which doesn't yet exist, where every baby right from conception was treated with ultimate respect at every moment, because every parent had received that and every grandparent had received that, with absolute empathy, encouragement, with there were no judgments and no, you know, all of that stuff. We just go and do what we wanted to do. Oh, I want to write a book. Okay, I'll go and write a book. You know, I want to do this. I'll go and do that, because we wouldn't have all these, you know, the fear and the judgment, all that stuff that's called upper limiting is basically, you know, stuff we experienced when we were younger, and it's coming up to be released and shifted. I think it's really helpful to remember that upper limiting isn't some inherent thing. It's basically the old stuff coming to be released. Hi, Nikki. Sorry I didn't see that. Lovely video, Marion. Thank you for sharing. Blessings until next time. Thank you for being here. The glass isn't half empty or full. It's simply a beautiful glass. I love it. Love it, love it, love it. Thanks, Nikki. Yeah, and so for me, what I was trying to speak in a certain way in these videos, and really the whole point is that as we actually do these things, as we show up, so as I showed up in the videos and time again, and then I'd have my friends calling me beforehand and being on it and calling me afterwards and celebrating me, and I realized that, gosh, I've done that and I didn't say the word accurately, or I stumbled over my words, and well, actually everything's fine and I'm still here and I haven't been judged. And so we get to transform through the doing as well. So we get to create this new identity of someone who can do the things that we couldn't do before, someone who can do the stuff and not feel terrified or whatever it is. Thank you for still sending the love. So I stopped doing all that stuff. I got rid of the expensive camera and the tripod. I stopped putting the special clothes on, the makeup. I stopped trying to be someone else, and I just started showing up as myself. And you know, that's what I see, particularly as well, like this new generation showing up. They're just coming and doing all their YouTube stuff, and that's, I mean, I know there's elements of that is part of it's, you know, the trying to be someone other, but there's so much that is about authenticity that's coming in. Nikki, right, we're all just children with trauma and pain running around in adult bodies. Absolutely. Really so helpful to remember when all that stuff shows up. That's not really who we really are. That's pain showing up from the past. That's internalized voices showing up from the past. Yes, we aren't in danger. We simply just are. Yes, so really returning to that native state that is who we really are. I'm here. I'm here now. Love it. I love it, Nikki. So when we have repeated new experiences of being ourselves and showing up and receiving that outer empathy and support and the inner empathy and support, our identity changes. This personality develops and changes, and it becomes more and more an accurate reflection of who we really are. Like we talked about with the friend, it becomes like, oh, okay, I can be myself. I am myself. We become more, the personality becomes more of an authentic personality rather than more of a kind of survival personality. We become freer to express our own unique, authentic gifts to the world. That deeper sense of authentic being, we can take those next steps. We become freer to get out of the way and be more like a conduit or a channel for the divine to come through us. Because, you know, before that, often the fears and the judgments are actually kind of make it harder for this, whatever gets to flow through us, we care less and less what others might be thinking. So we're freer to be of service to, oh, what do you need, rather than what are you thinking of me? And in psychospiritual terms, we're free for our individual will to surrender to divine will. You know, what am I, you know, I'm here, let me be of service. How can I most be of service to this person? How can I most be of help here? And we gain more of a capacity to trust the divine downloads that come to us, to share what comes through us, and to have a deep trust that life is holding us and is supporting us to share the unique message that only we can share. You are unique, and there's a message that can only come through you, that nobody else on the planet, and each of us is like that. We are each a unique divine spark with unique life experiences, which mean there's a particularity that can only come through you. And I'm using the mouth, but it can be through the hands, through, you know, whatever way you express the gift. And for me, the entrepreneurial journey has brought gifts I really could never possibly imagined. And for me, my personality is a whole lot different. You know, like, wow, I love doing Facebook Lives. That is unheard of. I love doing workshops. I love running groups. The little girl that was terrified to speak has been transformed through the doing and through this internal process and external process of empathy and compassion, bringing the parts and expanding the identity. So I wonder how this all sits for you. I wonder what you feel called to do next. I wonder if you feel called to connect more with an outer loving crew and your own inner loving crew. I wonder how you feel when you watch this. I wonder what's happening for you, what you're thinking of. And I want to share a little bit. So I have an inner loving presence process for entrepreneurs, and that includes all of these things. It has the inner loving crew and the inner loving presence process, which is the past piece, and it has the willingness practice, which is, am I really willing to have, do, or be this? And it also explains how we can talk to life in terms of reading the messages from life. So the willingness is the messages we give to life, and the messages from life are what comes back. And really being in conversation with life, and our own unique conversation that only each of us has, that is again unique. So that's opening next week if you're interested. That really, my purpose here to do this today was, I really want to let you know you have unique gifts that only you can give, and giving our gifts is a deeply fulfilling thing. And yes, the entrepreneurial journey can be challenging, it can be fire, like you're sharing, Nikki, but it can be an incredibly transformative journey where we do get to develop this personality that really is a deep reflection of our deepest selves. So I really want to invite you, what's your next step? What do you feel called to do? What's calling you, and what kind of empathy or support do you need from the outside or the inside to take that next step, to do that inner piece of healing, to become more compassionate with yourself, or to see what's showing up on the outside as actually an opportunity for some inner work. So thank you so much for watching. So lovely to see you all, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Bye for now.